Mr. President, I want to talk a little bit about where we are right now. I mean, we're moving toward confirming a number of individuals with the majority deciding that the majority could do that by themselves. Apparently, they had the right to change the rules, which I guess means there really are no rules if the majority can change the rules any day they want to. But you know, what we're seeing now with the health care implementation is what happens, frankly, when one side decides, I don't want to make any effort necessary to get even one other person from the other side to agree with me on moving forward with something as big as the health care legislation. That should have been an example to us, but apparently the example was the example that, hey, the majority can do whatever the majority wants to do. Let me just share for a few minutes some of the things I'm hearing in our office from people who are contacting us to tell us the problems they're having that they didn't anticipate. This is a letter from Pam from Chesterfield, Missouri. She says, my husband and I have always played by the rules and carried insurance. I had no idea that we were going to have to change plans and go to the exchange, but our provider apparently doesn't want to have individual plans any longer because it's too costly to figure out the complexities that would apply to individual plans. And then Pam says, at least for now, my husband and I are not getting health insurance. And I guess we have to hope for the best. What a mess, she says. So much for playing by the rules. I never expected the two of us to be uninsured, but now she thinks that's what's likely to happen. Jennifer, a college student from St. Louis, said that she initially supported the Affordable Care Act. She works part-time at a home goods store where she had what she thought were great health benefits, at least the health benefits she wanted, and where she could work as many hours as she wanted. But she says because of the health care plan, her employers reduced the maximum number of hours she could work to 24 hours. So she says, my name is Jennifer. I'm a hardworking student from St. Louis, Missouri, and I'd like to share my emerging problems. At first, I was supportive of the idea of the Patient Protection and Affordable Health Care Act. Insurance for everyone, Jennifer says, that sounds so appealing. But now that it's affected my life in a negative way, I'm not so sure I can be supportive anymore. I have worked at my employer for almost 3 years while going to school. It's been an excellent place to work until now. And now not only do I not have the health care benefits that I had before, but I'm not able to work as much as I was able to work before. Carla and her husband, farmers from Orick, Missouri, they farm full-time. Neither of them is employed off the farm. They have 2 sons, one just graduated from college who just went to work, another's a junior in college. They have 1 full-time employee on the farm. Her family provides their own insurance. In order to them to have insurance, they've had a health savings account through Humana. Their deductible's been $10,000. They've still paid almost a little over $500 a month, $6,057 a year for their family insurance. But she tells me beginning January 1, 2014, their deductible goes to $12,600. Their premium goes to $11,422, an 89% increase in a family that provides their own insurance. And by the way, they provide insurance with dollars that they earn that they pay taxes on. So you can add another premium to that and find out how this family that had done all they could to have insurance for their family now has an 89% insurance and a deductible that they hope they never use, but if they do, it's a big problem if they use that deductible. The deductible was, what was it going to be, over $12,000 a year? If you're a family and you're paying $11,000 for your premiums, and then if you have health care needs, you pay another $12,000 before your insurance helps you, that's $23,000 a year before your insurance benefits you in any way for a family that had insurance coverage that until right now they thought was working for them and doing all they could to have it. Catherine from Springfield, Missouri says that a few weeks ago she was informed she was going to lose her health coverage because of the president's health care plan. She's been concerned that she might not be able to sign up because the website wasn't working. Whether the insurance cost more or not wasn't as big a concern to her as having insurance. But she says this in her letter to me. She says, "The nightmare that is Obamacare is going to affect us in a major way. And the stress of what is coming is affecting many, many people. Not only are we losing health insurance plans we liked, possibly the doctors we trust, but the new coverage is not as good and it costs us more. This is to paraphrase the vice president, a big deal," she says. Ken from O'Fallon, Missouri, here's his letter to me. "Dear Senator Blunt, I'm writing to inform you of my recent experience with health insurance and the ACA. My wife and I make a decent income, but are far from wealthy. On September the 30th, I received a notice that due to the ACA, my employer-sponsored health insurance plan would no longer be available. Yesterday, after worrying about this since September 30th, apparently, yesterday, he continues in his letter, I discovered that my employer was able to renegotiate an early renewal and our monthly premium will only increase by 12.5%. However, by the way, 12.5%, pretty good increase by any books except the ones that compare what's happening right now. However, he continues to say, I've been made aware that next year my plan premiums will increase by a minimum of 39%. So it increased 12.5% this year. They've already notified this family that their increase will be a minimum of 39% next year. And my deductible, according to him, will double. So I guess, reading his letter further, he says, so I guess I'll not be able to keep my insurance and my cost will not decrease as the president said they would. Carol from Republic, Missouri says her monthly premiums have gone from $600 to $800 a month, and the part-time jobs that she and her husband both had at the local community college have actually gone down because they're not able to teach as much as they were able to teach before. Because the community college has decided they can't let any of their part-time faculty work more than 30 hours. So their income went down, their expenses went up, both cases because of the president's decisions on health care and the legislative decisions on health care, both cases because we know this has had impact at the workplace. Part-time workers, people holding their workforce down so they wouldn't be covered, holding their worker hours down so they wouldn't have to pay the penalty if they didn't offer insurance or offer the insurance for the first time at levels they hadn't had before. Now we're also seeing not only did the hours of work go down, but the cost of health insurance goes up. Surely we can come up with a better plan than that, Mr. President. Christian from St. Peters, Missouri, just learned that his wife's employer will start excluding him from their family coverage and that he now has to receive insurance in some different way. Looks like he's going to be able to do that with his employer for $1,300 more per year. This is actually the best story I've told so far. Only $1,300 that this family used to have to spend for something else, they're now spending for health care. But he says this, he said, I'm not sure who Obamacare benefits, but it sure isn't my family. That's just an example of some of the things, Mr. President, we're hearing. Last weekend, I noticed that one of the architects of the president's health care bill, Dr. Zeke Emanuel, said on Fox News to Chris Wallace, he said, well, what the president really should have said, this is his exact quote, if you want to pay more for your insurance company that covers your doctor, you can do that. Well, I don't know what Dr. Emanuel's looking at, and you may be able to find your doctor for more money, but in our state, there's some of the health care providers that aren't on the exchange. In New Hampshire, I read the other day, more than half of the hospitals in New Hampshire aren't on the exchange. So if your doctor happened to work for more than half of the hospitals in New Hampshire, there is no amount of money you can pay on the exchange and keep your doctor because your doctor's no longer available through the way that you're told by the Health Care Act that you can get insurance as an individual. You know, the president's promised that my plan, he said, begins by covering every American. If you already like your health insurance, the only thing that will change for you under this part is the amount of money you will spend on premiums, and that will be less. I think we're going to quickly see not only are people losing insurance, but for most people, the premiums are not going to be less, and the deductibles are going to be higher, not lower. This is going to be a story that is going to affect American families like nothing the federal government has done in a long time, maybe nothing the federal government's done ever. If you really want to impact the lives of families, impact their health care. Somebody told me one time that when everybody in your family is well, you've got lots of problems. When somebody in your family is sick, you've got one problem. We are dealing here with the one focusing problem for American families, their access to health care that they can afford with decisions they like, and I would yield back.